welfare. A licensed insurance broker, Paul has 30-plus years of payroll and insurance industry experience. Paul leads Inspirity's Healthcare Reform Consulting Group, which advises Insperity clients about how to best respond to the demands of the healthcare reform regulations. So would Paul please come forward?
Hello everyone, good afternoon, and I'm delighted to be here. I will say, what a great looking group, so thank you much. So let's get started. Usually I do this presentation for various groups, associations, CPAs, business owners, etc. And really it's a high level of healthcare reform where we are today. And this presentation, unless you attended the Evelyn Wood speed reading, I usually do it in 50 minutes, so we're going to do it in 30. So unless you're a speed reader, you'll have trouble staying up with us. But the presentation is outside of the member table. I forget the name of it's called, but the marketplace. So if you want to pick up the presentation at any point, certainly do so. My card is there. If you have any questions or someone on your staff should have questions, please feel free to give us a call. We'll help you as best as we can. So without further ado, let's take a look at the executive brief for healthcare reform. For those of you in the back, I hope you brought your glasses. So apologize for that. Okay, great. All right. Not off to a good start here. There we go. Okay, quickly the agenda. We're just going to look at the healthcare reform, critical considerations. So people, I don't know if you're familiar, but individual mandate. I go out and I ask people sitting around sometimes at dinner, hey, you know you're subject to the individual mandate? They go, huh? So we'll talk about that, the employer shared responsibility, reporting, cost drivers, state marketplaces. And we'll talk about healthcare reform action items, which we will breeze through really quick at the end because we broke them down by the size of the business. So there's some that apply, obviously small, mid-size, and large. And finally, we'll talk a quick question if we have time for the strategy. Down in the right-hand corner, what we try to do is show you this slide would apply to the size of your business, the small, medium, and large, and of course, what is the level of risk involved in this slide. So this applies to everybody because it's the agenda, there's no risk. All right. The provisions that were why do we have healthcare reform? We probably all know to get health insurance for everyone in America. Okay? And so, very good idea, great idea. So it's made up of healthcare reform, a series of mandates, requirements, so that the program gets outlined. We know that there's new taxes and fees and all kinds of things to support the program. And then, of course, there's a series of checks and balances to make sure that at the end of the year and going forward, the program is running as the government had set it up to be. Impact of your business, all I can say is more complexity, more compliance issues, and greater costs. Next. So we'll get started with the critical considerations. Individual mandate. What is individual mandate? Starting in January of 14, yes, 7 months ago, the individual mandate started. So if you are an American citizen, unless you're incarcerated, or you are part of an Indian tribe, or you have some other governmental program like Medicare or Medicaid, you are supposed to have insurance. What if you don't? Well, if you don't, then when you file your taxes next year, IRS groups, HR Block, things like that, they've already started this year back in February, since so long ago, doesn't it? When people came in to do their taxes for the prior year, they started giving them a printout of, hey, next year you're going to have to pay a certain penalty if you don't have qualified health insurance. So they were trying to give everybody, get with the program so that in 14, hopefully they would get insurance coverage or certainly recognize if they don't have coverage what the potential penalties are. And what are the penalties? Well, right now it's $95 or 1% of income, whichever is higher. Okay, so 95 is not bad if you're my daughter and you only earn about $2,000 for the whole year. 95 bucks, not too bad. Of course, she's covered under dad, so don't anybody pick on me. I didn't throw her to the wolves. Okay, so but it's $95 or 1%. 1% can hurt if you're into commercial real estate, you're a single guy, 32, whatever the age is, female, doesn't matter, and you have to pull down some substantial income, 1% can hurt. Okay, now, next year it goes to $325. So next year, $325 or 2% of income, whichever is higher. And then finally, the next year, 2.5% of income or $695, whichever is higher. Okay, so it certainly kicks up. And the box must be over on this side someplace. There we go. So we put in a quick table for you, 95, 325, or 695, the percentage is there. And then you can see as an example of someone earning what their penalty might be, $50, $1,000, or okay, the one. So that's information there. I'm sorry, I wrote through real quick for you. But the bottom line is you can see there's penalties kicking in. So on an individual basis, the government's trying to prod us, if you will, to get insurance. So that's what the individual mandate is. Here is the concern of a business owner. I've got a company, I offer group health insurance, I've got, a group of employees that don't want insurance because they're healthy. They're 24, single, never been sick a day in their life, and they're like, I'm not contributing. So unless you're paying for it all, I'm not going to sign up, right? I mean, we were all there at one point, at least I was. And so, unfortunately, for the business owner now, what happens when they're mandated, these employees that are now mandated to get coverage by the individual mandate show up at the door and say, hey, you know what, I think I'm going to sign up for your coverage now. I'd rather pay I'd rather get coverage than pay the $325 penalty. Or I'd rather get your plan for $100 a month instead of paying the $695 penalty. Or you could be like my wife, who was a rule follower, and she would sign up because there's a penalty at whatever price. All right? So the point is, employees now potentially will show up at their business owner, the HR director's door, and say, I want to get on the health plan now. And that's all well and good, but what if you're not anticipating those 10 employees getting on your health plan? They haven't been covered for the last 3, 5, 7, 10 years, and all of a sudden, your budget is $5,000 per person. So now I got 5 new people, $5,000 each. That I put that new money in my budget. So you kind of have to figure out what your demographics look like to know whether or not you'll have potential impact of people that are not covered under the current group plan coming and getting coverage. Individual mandate, the critical considerations, I'm sure you can already see those. Are you prepared to answer employee questions? What if they come to your door and they say, hey, I got this thing in the mail, what is it? Should I sign up? I don't know. Is it really going to cost me? Are they kidding? There's a penalty. They're going to look to you as the employer to answer those questions. All right? Next, we'll move to the heart of the other side of the fence. This is the employer, which the required play or pay penalty. And so if you're an employer, first of all, if you're under 50 employees, take a deep sigh of relief because this does not apply to you. Okay? So under 50, right now, there is no requirement that you provide benefits for your employees, health insurance, or pay a penalty. All right, so if you're under 50, sigh of relief. If you're in the 50 to 99 category, a change in October gave you a relief, a transition they call it, so that originally when the law came out, if you were 50 or more, you were subject. So according to the government, they listened to everybody complaining that, hey, 50? I'm really big? Come on. And so they backed it off to 100 and gave you a year to prepare. So it's a transitional year. So if you're in the 50 to 99 category of employment, you've got another year to be prepared. If you're 100 plus, bingo, it starts in 2015, your penalty. And what this slide is trying to say is that at a minimum, unless you know you are under 50, and clearly under 50, going to stay under 50, which is fine, great, love small business in America. The point is you should be tracking hours. You should be tracking your employees. Now, a lot of you, I'm sure, are doing this already, and that's great. But there's going to be all kinds of new reporting and decisions that are going to need to be made, and you're going to have the data available to you to make those decisions. So you're going to need to know start dates, when you offered someone coverage, how many hours they're working, et cetera, okay? So what this slide is telling us is when you go to figure out that number, okay? My dad owned a small tool and die shop, 15 employees forever. He didn't have to go through a calculation to figure out how many employees he had. 15 forever. But a lot of businesses have more employees, they come and go, they grow, they go back and forth based on contracts, et cetera, et cetera. So what this is trying to tell people is you have to be prepared when you're calculating the number of your full-time employees. It really is full-time equivalent employees. So you have to make sure that you're adding businesses together if you happen to have common ownership in another business. So again, I own a Subway shop, I don't. But if I own a Subway shop and I have 30 employees, and I own another one with 30, as long as there's common ownership, then I have to add them together and I got 60. So that's what we mean by controlled ownership. So when you're calculating how many you've got, you gotta look at controlled ownership. You have to look at the hours everybody's working because the government's now defining full-time at 30 or more. Okay? And of course, you then have to add multiple part-timers together to determine what your full-time equivalent is. All right? So even that is kind of difficult if you ask me. All right? Next, this talks about companies that are subject to the play or pay. So right now I'm over 100 for the coming year. All right? After that, I'd be over 50 employees. And again, if I'm under 50, I'm good to go. But how do I get out of it, if you will, or deal with the penalty situation? Well, in order to not get penalized, I have to offer a plan that meets the minimum requirements that the government sets out. And of course, they define minimum at 60%. Okay? So basically, high level, 60% of the claims, okay, for essential benefits are going to get covered. That's how you know you have a 60% minimum value plan. All right? The other requirement is that it has to be coverage to my employees, has to be affordable. I cannot ask the employees to pay more than 9.5%, okay, of their household income. Well, I don't know about you, but I don't know how employers readily know their employees' household income. You know? So they ran an article, it's kind of crazy. They were saying, do I have to count my son's paper route? You know, I mean, so long story short, there are some safe havens that the IRS gives us to figure this out. So for example, if an employee has worked for you for the entire prior year, you can look at their box 1 and their W-2. You can see what their income is. Well, if they have worked for you all year, you're going to have to come up with some other way to figure out what is quote unquote affordable for that employee. And am I asking them to pay more than 9.5%? So the other safe harbors have to do with the rate per hour, or salary, of course, right? So there are safe havens to help you figure that out. This is an example here of what do I do if I'm not offering coverage at all. So I decide I'm 100, right now I'm working with a customer out of Dallas, 600 employees roughly, and they don't really offer benefits. So they're looking at and they're all full-time employees for the most part, so they're looking at a penalty of 600 employees less 80. The government's giving you a pass on the first 80. When the original law came out, it was 30. When they put in the transition last October, and they raised the 50 number to 100, they raised the 30 pass to 80. Okay? Follow that up? I'm sure you do. So long story short, if I'm doing nothing in the way of benefits, and I've got my full-time employees, I'm now looking at 600 minus 80, 520 times $2,000. That's a big ouch. Okay? But that's if you do nothing, and you're subject to the penalty. All right? This one here is the next penalty. Oh, that's hard to read, isn't it? That's not me. I can't even read it here. I you guys read in the back. Okay, so this one, the government said, okay, well, what if you offer coverage, but it doesn't meet the minimum value? It's not covering 60% of claims, it's only 58. Or what if it's not affordable to that employee? You're asking them to pay a whopping 10% of their income. That's a lot, I get it, but you know, you could just be off a little bit when you're not making it affordable. So now you fall under the $3,000 penalty, but you don't pay it for every employee. You only pay it for those that get their coverage from a marketplace. Not only do they get coverage, but they get a subsidy. So basically the government's saying, if we have to cover them through a subsidy, we're going to charge you, Mr. Employer, because you're not doing what you should have done. Or we want you to. Okay? So there's a $2,000 penalty if you do nothing for your full-time people. There's a $3,000 penalty if you do something but it's not enough. All right? Going too fast, I feel like I'm going to zip it through this. Okay? So, next, okay, therefore, what are the critical considerations? How many full-time people do you have? Are you even subject to this player paid penalty? Number one. Number two, how am I going to deal with it? How many employees are on my staff that I think, based on demographics, don't have coverage and are going to run out and get coverage? And if they run out and get coverage, will it be through mom and dad, because they go on mom and dad to 26? In New York, where I'm from, you go to 30. Is it through spouse? Maybe. Or am I going to run to a marketplace, get my coverage, and when I get my coverage, do I or not get a subsidy? And we'll talk about that in a second as far as who qualifies for a subsidy. So really, this is just a slide to show the employers, you really got to start thinking not only about the coverage you offer, but what you provide as far as the benefit, what you ask the employees to contribute, but what about the people that don't have coverage? What does that demographic look like? And could that end up coming back to you in the form of a penalty? Because if so, the CFO wants to know so they can budget for it. Next, reporting. There we go. Again, broke it down in 3 buckets: under 50, 50 to 99, 100 plus. Again, Snyder Lee, anybody under 50, don't have any reporting requirements right now. Okay, so enjoy it. Oh, sorry. There we go. 50 to 99, I love this one. You probably can't read it, but it says for 14, you should be tracking the hours for your employees, and you can voluntarily report the data to the government so that you can help them work out the kinks in their system so we don't have as many problems like they did with the rollout of the marketplaces. So, anybody want to get in that line? Right over there. So, not many people are going to do it voluntarily, but maybe they will. They want to work out their own kinks. I don't know. So anyways, you're off the hook on the under 50. In the middle space, the 99, you've got that transition year coming next year, but you're going to have to file a form to say, hey, we know we're above 50, we know we're below 100, and therefore we're going to take advantage of the transition that you've offered, and you're going to have to fill out a form and send it in. And you better have documentation, because if somebody comes calling and says, we think you're 105, are you just going to say, I take my word for it? So that's why, again, I alluded to earlier, having systems in place, tracking all this information, because somebody's going to want to know. And then, of course, 100 plus, the reporting will start at the end of 15. So in early 16, you will be returning or putting in all kinds of new reports having to do with, again, the reporting of healthcare reform, employees, coverage levels, et cetera, et cetera. So this is, again, just an idea of what's coming. We only know what the feds are asking for right now, the IRS. We don't know what the states are going to want to know. So it could be exactly the same, maybe, but I guarantee it's not going to be in the same order. So you're going to have the way of, taking the same data, probably, moving some columns around, adding some things, and then reporting it to the states. There we go. And this is just to point out to, again, business owners, get them to think. Let's call in the CIO, the guy that's doing all the information technology. Let's call them in and say, hey, we got a problem with this? Do we have certain data in our payroll system? Do we have certain data in our benefits system? And other data in our HR system? And do they all talk? because you're gonna have to get access to all of that data. Not only, again, is somebody full-time or not, 30 hours or more, definitely in the payroll system. Benefit system, I gotta know who's on Blue Cross, who's on whatever health plan it is, when they started, were they eligible, was it dependent coverage? And then, of course, in HR, I gotta know what's their start date. Things like that. So the whole point is, you may have one system, and if you do, and it does all that, and it already talks, you're in great shape. But if you don't, like many people, you're gonna have to get them to talk or figure out how you're gonna have to collect all that data. And so when you get a notice from the state or the Fed that says, hey, Charlie showed up at our door, Charlie said you don't offer insurance coverage, but you're more than 100 employees, and Charlie said you make them pay half the cost. Here's a notice that you need to respond to. We think it's going to be 30 days. That you as the employer have to negate all that information. What's he talking about? We offer all of our full-time people coverage, and we only ask them to pay 2%, and by the way, we've only got 6 people. But Charlie reported to the state other information. State doesn't know. They have no way of verifying it right now, and therefore, guess who they're going to come and ask? The employer. So, critical considerations, are you prepared? I kind of gave them all those to you. Cost drivers. A lot of people are trying to understand, why is all this happening? Well, it's happening because we're trying to get health care, affordable health care, quality, affordable health care for all. And that's good. Wealthiest country in the world, we ought to, right? But here's some of the things that we're now paying for with different excise taxes and PCORI fees and all these other things that are getting kicked in. So, I can go through them all if you like, but the whole bottom line is these are about 3.5% to 4% of your premiums now on a fully insured plan. You're looking at going up 3.5% to 4% just of all the different taxes and fees. And what are they for? Well, they're for auditors to police the program. They're for the state marketplaces to run and help people get signed up. They're for research, for better medical outcomes. Okay? They're for pharmaceutical manufacturers to better develop their drugs faster. I don't really know all of them, but the bottom line is that's what these new taxes and fees are doing. This is the cost drivers. We broke cost drivers, again, down in the size of the business again, and I'll just skip through all this because there's not a lot of difference in the size. But what I wanted to at least mention, why employers, especially the under 50 right now, are seeing some pretty substantial gains in their premium that they're paying, okay? And this is because the game has changed for the carriers under healthcare reform. And the goal is, again, coverage for all, make it affordable for all, smooth out any of the bumps in the road. And so, adjusted community rating, we're going to cover that real quick. Underwriting requirements have changed, and of course, plan design mandates have come into play. So again, you probably know a lot of those, I'm guessing. Plan design mandates, deductible can only be so high. Can't have any, they got to cover, there can't be no max on your program anymore, lifetime caps, things like that. What we mean by design changes are forced to the carriers when they quote a plan now for a small group. The underwriting requirements, you have to take everybody now. Can't say no to anybody. Can't even put a restriction on someone of the group. So it's pretty much anybody that fills out the app, you've got to cover. And then, of course, the other one is the adjusted community rating. There's a good slide right there showing it. What the government said to the carriers is, prior to 1/1/14, when we would quote a small group, it was certainly age-rated. They were bracketed by about 5-year increments. And certainly, if I was quoting a group that had an average age of 28, it was way cheaper than a group of 58. It's all just kind of common sense. But the government said that they used to allow an 8-to-1 ratio, top to bottom. Now it's got to be 3-to-1. So obviously, the youngers have got to come up, the olders have got to not go up quite as fast, and they're trying to get everything in line so that, again, everyone is, in essence, going to pay the same price. We've already eliminated different charges for male and female. So like I said, they're kind of moving that way. So when they move that way, what does the carrier have to do? They've got to, pay attention to what the law says and fall in line. So that's what's doing the small group rates, depending on the company. These are the underwriting requirements, the column on the left. We used to look at all of those things, provide them to the underwriters so that they could set the right premium for the right risk. That's what underwriters do. So you look at the size, you look at the demographics, you look at industry, all that stuff you could look at as an underwriter. 1114, you've got 4 things you can look at: family size, age, geographic area, tobacco use. And most of them have thrown away the use of figuring out the tobacco use because, guess what? When the app comes in, everybody's a non-smoker. You don't have to be insurance to get that one, So the whole point is the underwriters have stopped asking because it would be too expensive to prove. Yes, no, maybe. What if I stopped a month ago? What if I'm just doing an e-state now? I don't know. Nuts. It's just nuts out there. So the point is, if you're an underwriter, you now only have 3 things to set the right price, and you're held accountable. What are you going to do? I'm going to aim high if I'm an underwriter. I have news for you. And that's why we're seeing some increase in the rates. Small group. Now, the government just came out recently, again, end of October, and said, okay, just kidding. You don't really have to do everything we said. Tell you what, we'll give you an extension for these small group reforms. But we're going to leave it up to the states. So each state insurance commissioner can decide whether or not they're going to require the carriers in their state, when they quote the small groups, whether or not they have to abide by all those requirements I just gave you. Okay? Some have granted, some have said, no, we're not doing it. We're going full speed ahead. Some have said a year's enough. North Carolina just did 3 years extension. So, what good is the law if you got 3 years extension? I don't know. But, okay, come on. There we go. And that's why I'm going to skip through the drivers. We're almost identical at this level as we get into the larger sizes. Critical considerations, again, are there planned changes that I can make still within the requirements of the law? So if I've got a $1,000 deductible, does it make sense to come up to 3, which is the max, or not? What changes in the plan design can I still make and stay within the law? What can I ask my employees to contribute? What if I am asking them to pay 5%? Can I come up to 7, 8, or 9.5? And am I still viable in the marketplace to attract the people and keep the ones I want? So those are some of the, again, critical considerations on those drivers. State marketplaces, you probably all know about those, right? Again, you can either, like Texas, we went to the healthcare.gov, we acquiesced to the Fed. That's great. I love that decision, actually. Okay? Other states, California has their own marketplace. So you can go and check out coveredcalifornia.gov, or you can go to New York and check theirs out. Because again, they have their own state exchanges. But the bulk have acquiesced to the Fed, which is, again, I think a good idea. And so the bottom line here is we talked earlier about subsidies. Well, who gets a subsidy? This ties back to the demographic discussion we were talking about. Again, if you've got employees that earn more than $46,000 for the year, they can't get a subsidy. So if they're not getting covered under my group plan as the employer, and I know they earn 46 or above currently, I don't have to worry about getting penalized based on their action, meaning they can still go to the marketplace, they can get coverage, but when they put in their income on the sliding scale, if the premium is $400 based on the plan they pick, they're going to have to pay $400. Conversely, if somebody's earning $22,000 and they pick that same $400 plan, again, sliding scale, and you can do it right online, probably half that premium is going to get paid for them by a subsidy by the government. And again, if there are over 100 employees, you're required to play or pay. If one of those employees is yours, they're full-time, They go to the marketplace, they get covered, they now get a subsidy, you're gonna get a notice to try to fight whether or not they deserve a subsidy or not. And then if they're correct, meaning they have no insurance coverage, like the gentleman I'm working with 600 employees, one of those employees goes, that's gonna trigger that $2,000 penalty because he does nothing, no health insurance, right? That's the $2,000 penalty we talked about. Conversely, if I have coverage, person goes, gets the marketplace, 22K, gets a subsidy. Again, if I'm offering coverage that is 60% or more in value and is affordable, 9.5% or less, I ask them to contribute, then I'm subject to a $3,000 penalty, but only based on the people that actually go and get covered and get a subsidy. So much less risk exposure, if you will. Okay? Hope we're good. You guys are doing great. Appreciate it. Marketplace, yes, I can get single coverage, and I can get now group coverage for my small group. It's called SHOP. All right, health options plan. Some states, again, you can get it through the Fed, you can get it through the states. But the point is, when it rolled out last year, it was for individual coverage. Now we're expanding it to small group. There can be some advantages in getting into a small group through the exchanges or marketplaces. Okay. Impacts. Okay. So again, it's really just looking at the marketplace. Will your employees go there? Are they going to come and ask you, should I buy this? Is this a good deal? How does it compare with our plan? Are you prepared to get a notice to respond? Again, going back to where's your data housed? How quickly can you retrieve it? Is it in the format you're going to need? What if they only going to accept it electronically versus a handwritten note? I mean, so all the things that the business owners have to contend with now that healthcare reform is gone from tell me what the rules are to tell me what I need to do to stay out of trouble. So, okay, I lost the word. So, sorry about that. Come on. So, critical conditions, I think you can read those. I think I mentioned them all anyways. And then this is the area that I'm going to go through real quick because of time. And again, we've broken them down. The first column is under 50, middle is 99, and then the large. These are the items, a lot of which we covered on the left. All the things that you should take and just step through them and just check it off. Got it. Oops, got it, research. Give you an idea of what are the items that apply to you based on the size of your business. And these are your healthcare action items. So it's like a homework assignment. Everybody go complete them. Okay? So there's a couple of pages of these, if I can thumb through them. And you're going to, at the end here, we start getting to the ones that, again, apply to the 99 businesses because of the transition here, as opposed to the 100 plus. And I won't bore you by going through all those again. And so that's the action items. We're almost done, guys. Appreciate it. This would be your, how are you going to take healthcare reform? So a typical kind of SWOT analysis. What are the strengths that you bring to your employees through your benefits program? Is this an opportunity now for you to have the best program out there so that you're outclassing, if you will, or outdistancing or differentiating yourself from your competition or not? What's your competition doing in this area? Is this something that you have the ability to do in-house? Should you look to outsource as a way to deal with all of this? Is it a better financial decision for you? And of course, what are the risks? So you got to kind of go through those numbers and decide, what's it cost me to provide health insurance? What if I get hit by that $2,000 penalty? What potentially could that be? $3,000 penalty, etc. Should we do that? There we go. Just our shameless plug, Lions Charity. Obviously, we think we do all of those well. We take care of reducing your risk, the administrative burden. We minimize your compliance concerns. And of course, with the stabilized health insurance, we have a large group plan that we pass it on to our clients and their employees. That's my shameless plug. And that's the end, and I'm done.
Well, hold on.
Oh,
It's clear that, wait, you're too fast. We wanted to recognize your expertise and efforts in helping to educate us all in 30 minutes or less about a very complex law that is impacting many of us in this room. So, on behalf of all the chamber, thank you for taking on the task. And doing it so well. I'm going to ask several people to come forward to help with presenting the awards to those finalists who will be Nurse of the Year and Healthcare Professionals of the Year. So would Tim Baker with Independent Bank come forward? He will help greet the honorees. We'd also like to have State Representative Dan Huberty come forward and Kim Rowe, representing Congressman Ted Poe's office, come forward. And they will be presenting special certificates to our finalists. So we have two groups of finalists this morning, or this afternoon. And again, the first one will be for the Nurse of the Year, followed by the Healthcare Professional of the Year. And it's my understanding that nominees were solicited throughout the Greater Lake Houston area, and the three finalists for each area was selected by an independent panel that was made up of 4 chamber members who had no affiliation with the finalists. So we're going to go in alpha order. Nurse of the Year finalist, Peggy Allen. Would Peggy please come forward? Peggy is an RN nurse with Lone Star College, Kingwood. She's focused her professional and personal life on helping others throughout her nursing career. As a nurse and educator, she's dedicated herself to Lone Star College, Kingwood, and to the community in many ways. Peggy has 21 years of experience as a nurse practitioner, 14 years of teaching experience at the college level, and 13 years of experience as a college nursing program director. Peggy devotes her time to Lone Star College to a variety of professional activities, which include serving as a remediation specialist for nursing and as the chair of the Lone Star College Kingwood Nursing Evaluation Committee. She also serves on the Lone Star College System Workload Committee, Curriculum Committee, Mentorship Committee, Simulation Committee, and Faculty Senate. She is an interdisciplinary and healthcare honors program faculty mentor and is also responsible for developing and overseeing the Alpha Delta Nu Nursing Honor Society on campus. Peggy has also helped develop and launch a program on domestic violence at Lone Star College, Kingwood. When Peggy is not serving or leading a committee, she is teaching her students about obstetrics and pediatrics in the classroom. Peggy's involvement with the community continues to grow, along with her goal of teaching the next generation of nurses that volunteer their time and talents, which are essential to a full and uplifting career. She is a member and facilitator of the Centers of Hope Medical Missions team, teaches local Girl Scouts first aid for their badges, and avidly involves her and her students with the Susan G. Komen Walk for Breast Cancer. Previously, she served as a member of the advisory committee for the Red Cross as a disaster nurse, was Boy Scouts Willow troop leader, and a member of the St. Martha's Catholic School Board. She also leads several groups in Nicaragua each year on missionary volunteer work. Because Peggy believes her students will benefit from her own professional development, she maintains membership in several professional associations, such as Sigma Theta Tau, International Honor Society of Nursing, Texas Organization of Associate Degree Nursing, Texas Nurse Association, and Texas Community College Teachers Association. Her contribution to her profession was honored when she was awarded the Chair Academy's International Exemplary Leadership Award, Kingwood College Service Award, and Faculty Experience Award from North Harris College. Who's Who in American Nursing, Who's Who in the International Nursing as well. Through her community involvement, professional development, and service to multiple individuals, Peggy has been recognized as an inspiration and leader to many. Peggy's mantra is a quote by Tagore, which states, "I slept and dreamt that life was joy. I awoke and saw that life was service. I acted, and behold, service was joy." Thank you to Peggy for your inspiration and spirit of volunteerism. Okay, in terms of awarding of, are you standing on the platform? We didn't rehearse this part. Okay. We didn't make everyone jump up on the platform, so thank you. Thank you again. Janice Spitzer, nurse from Memorial Hermann Northeast. Janice Spitzer is a mother of 2 children. Again, Janice is a mother of 2 children and a leader throughout her community. Excellent clinical skills, customer service, and a strong work ethic are all the qualities she possesses. Janice's career within the medical field consists of 30 years of hard work, dedication, and the willingness to help others on a daily basis. She has been at Memorial Hermann Northeast for 14 years as a full-time RN and works part-time at Kingwood Medical Center. Janice's inspiration for a career in nursing stems from a family friend whom she admired for her perfectly pressed uniforms with her white nursing cap. Janice said, "I truly cannot imagine myself being anything but a nurse. I've always wanted to help people and make them feel better." Janice believes as a nurse that she will always be the patient's advocate, providing the knowledge and information they need to make the right choices involving their medical care. Janice frequently serves in the role of day surgery charge nurse and does this with leadership, calm, and ease. The day surgery staff rely on Jan for her leadership and knowledge on a wide range of specialties, as well as her critical thinking skills. Additionally, because of Jan's strong leadership and advanced clinical skills, she is respected among the surgeons and anesthesiologists at Memorial Hermann Northeast Hospital. Janice has volunteered for the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo for the past 7 years as a part of the medical committee and wine events committee. Some of her community involvement branches from the activities in which her 2 children participated, such as Blue Tide Aquatics and Boy Scouts of America. She also serves through the Houston Chevron Marathon as the clinical care coordinator, in which she recruits professionals from area hospitals, trains nurses, and administers proper care for athletes. Janice is also an active volunteer with the Humble Area Assisted Ministries, helping with the Back to School Backpack Program and the Christmas Gift Donation Drive. At Memorial Hermann Northeast, she serves on the Staffing Effectiveness Committee and the Experienced Ambassadors. She has received the iWOW Global Level Award every year since its inception in 2011. Thank you, Janice, for your dedication and willingness to serve your community. Diane Price, nurse, Kingwood Medical Center. Whether it was serving our country through the Air Force, serving her patients in healthcare, or serving our community through volunteer leadership, Diane Price's entire career has been dedicated to service. Diane has devoted more than 40 years to a variety of areas in nursing and management. Her career in nursing took flight within the United States Air Force. In 1976, she was one of 97 selected to serve as a flight nurse among the 5,000 United States Air Force nurses. She was commissioned as an officer in 1976, where she served at the Air Force Academy Hospital as a certified ICU nurse. From there, she completed flight school and took part in the air evacuation throughout the world, served in Operations Desert Shield and Desert Storm, and finished her military career as an assistant chief nurse for the largest air evacuation unit in the world. By 1983, Diane settled in Humble, where she continued nursing in the open heart recovery unit at Memorial City Hospital, followed by rehab at Kingwood Medical Center and HealthSouth's Rehabilitation Hospital. Currently, Diane has held the title of Stroke Program Coordinator at Kingwood Medical for more than 5 years. Diane serves on the Southeast Texas Regional Council Stroke Board and as the co-chair for Stroke Coordinator Committee. She has obtained Silver, Gold, and Gold Plus awards from the Get With the Guidelines for Stroke Core Measures recognition program through Kingwood Medical. In 1979, she was named Outstanding Young Woman of the Year. Diane was also recognized for outstanding performance, both as a registered nurse and as a United States Air Force officer. Diane administers as the lead trainer for the HCA stroke coordinators, neuro-NPs, physicians, and nursing staff. Her work has helped grow the stroke program from 200 patients in 2008 to 600 patients today through community education and public speaking. Thank you, Diane, for your selfless dedication to our patients, their families, and our community. As you can tell, all of these women have had long, distinguished careers in not only their profession of nursing, but also in giving back to their community. But it is my great pleasure, and I didn't know this until just about 2 hours ago, to announce that the 2014 Lake Houston Area Chamber of Commerce Nurse of the Year is Peggy Allen, make all the trip up here just yet, but we will at the end of the program because we have special awards to give to our Nurse and Health Profession of the Year. Okay, we have 3 finalists for the Healthcare Professional of the Year. Dr. Susan Curling from Memorial Hermann Northeast. Dr. Susan Curling is a true leader through her daily activities within the healthcare industry and community. Dr. Curling currently holds the positions of Chief Medical Officer for Memorial Hermann Northeast, President of North Houston Anesthesiologists, and Staff Anesthesiologist for Memorial Hermann Northeast, Memorial Hermann Specialty Hospital Kingwood, and Kingwood Medical Center. Under Dr. Curling's direction, Memorial Hermann Northeast Hospital has advanced dramatically in patient safety and quality. Before obtaining her degree in the medical sector, Dr. Curling received her BA in government with a concentration in international studies. From there, her willingness to serve her education landed her a degree in clinical anesthesia from the University of Texas at Houston. In 2010, Dr. Curling was named Memorial Hermann Northeast Hospital Physician of the Year. According to Memorial Hermann Northeast, she earned this award for being exemplary and personifying the Memorial Hermann culture, going above and beyond to create exceptional experiences for patients, exemplifying Memorial Hermann behaviors and operating principles, and lastly, for her leadership, she displayed in the anesthesiology department as well as the hospital's chief of staff. Dr. Curling spreads her time widely through various community involvement programs. She takes part in the Kingwood and Lake Houston Area Chamber of Commerce, is an elder chair at the Missions Committee for the First Presbyterian Church of Kingwood. She is on the board of Health Museum and actively participates in blood donor centers around the Houston area. Dr. Curling also contributes her time to local politics as being a part of the Kingwood Republican Women and ran for the Texas State Representative in 2010. One of Dr. Curling's most recent charity events was her position as the chair for the Greater Lake Houston Go Red for Women Luncheon. American Heart Association in 2013. More than 300 guests attended, which was an increase of 49% from the previous year. Dr. Curling's avid work has helped in the overall development and growth of Memorial Hermann Northeast. Under her leadership, the hospital was named the Quality Gold Circle Award winner in 2009 and the Press Gang Top Improver winner for 2010. Thank you, Dr. Curling, for your dedication and volunteerism. Dr. Doan Doe, Memorial Hermann Convenient Care Center. Dr. Doan Doe is a model of community activism. She is a physician with a thriving practice in a booming community, yet contributes to invest back into the community. Dr. Doe is a board-certified family medicine physician living in the Lake Houston area with her husband and 5 children. Her passion to bring hope and help to people in need encouraged Dr. Doe to receive her medical degree from the University of Texas Health Science Center at Houston. Dr. Doe chooses to practice family medicine because she loves the variety of patients, ranging from newborns to the elderly, that she sees on a daily basis. Following her love for family medicine, she opened a solo practice physician office in the Summer Creek area. After her service from the solo practice, Dr. Doe began working with Memorial Hermann Medical Group. She assumed a critical role with the startup of the first Memorial Hermann Convenient Care Center. With Dr. Doe's guidance, processes were put in place to ensure that the patients at the Convenient Care Center reach the correct level of care, whether it be primary care in the emergency center or care in between. She also helped set up the after-hours resource for patients to get care as needed. Dr. Doe is a mentor to her medical colleagues by providing them with training and assisting them in developing the skills they need in providing quality, cost-efficient care to the community. Her special interest is preventative medicine, and she sees herself as a coach, working with her patients to understand their health issues and encouraging them to take part in the decision-making processes about their health. Although Dr. Doe is busy with her thriving and active practice, she still continues the community activities she began when she first opened her private practice. Dr. Doe has a strong commitment to these community activities because of the unique circumstances around her earning her medical degree. Her degree was financed by a family friend who told Dr. Doe that his only requirement was that she give back to the community. For this reason, Dr. Doe continues to uphold her promise throughout each day. Using her medical expertise and skills, she administers presentations to the healthcare programs, including the Humble Seniors and Lone Star College Academy for Lifelong Learning. She also actively dedicates her time to a number of health fairs, including the annual health fair in Humble. Dr. Doe also volunteers with the YMCA Bike Safety Program, Lakeshore Elementary School Carnival as a team physician for soccer and football games, and performing athletic physicals for student athletes within local school districts. Thank you, Dr. Doe, for your care and dedication to the profession of the community. Dr. Bernard Gallagher, Kingwood Medical Center. Dr. Bernard Gallagher, otherwise referred to as Bernie by his friends and colleagues, is a man of great honor and respect by his family, peers, employees, and hospital leaders. His love of God to lead the life of ministry through the healthcare industry, as well as community involvement and overseas outreach. Currently, Dr. Gallagher resides in Kingwood with his wife, Pam, and 4 rescue dogs. Bernie has 4 children who live throughout the USA and Canada. He is no stranger when it comes to different languages. In fact, he can speak English, French, and Spanish. His knowledge and passion of various cultures has led Dr. Gallagher to be a part of the Faith in Practice, a Houston faith-based charity. Faith in Practice is a nonprofit, ecumenical Christian organization that seeks to improve the physical, spiritual, and economic conditions of the poor in Guatemala through short-term surgical, medical, and dental mission trips and health-related educational programs. Living overseas for many years, Dr. Gallagher saw many in need of medical assistance. He said, "I always understood the value of responsibility of helping others. I have been fortunate to be able to have the time, energy, and education to give back." Dr. Gallagher has been with Kingwood Medical Center since November 2004, where he serves as the anesthesiologist through North Houston Anesthesiology. He received his medical practice pursuant at Bowdoin College and McGill University. In addition to his studies, he played ice hockey at the collegiate level. He is boarded in family medicine and has fellowships in emergency, intensive care, and anesthesia. Dr. Gallagher is part of the various professional affiliations, including the American Board of Anesthesiology, Harris County Medical Society, Texas Medical Association, and Canadian Anesthesiast Society. In 2008, Dr. Gallagher was honored as the runner-up physician of the year at the Memorial Hermann Northeast. Dr. Gallagher's involvement within the community stems from his various hobbies. Since 2007, he has helped Foundry Orthopedics with high school physicals. He was involved with the Houston Arrows hockey program as a coach for the Junior League, as well as a player referee for the Old Timers League. He also participates with InBody Fitness as a member and advocate for ovarian cancer. Dr. Gallagher's love of dogs also encourages him to be more involved with local animal shelters. Playing frisbee and swimming with my dogs is therapy, as he states. He also plans to devote more time to volunteer work in Africa and Haiti through a program called Médecins Sans Frontières. Dr. Gallagher is viewed as a leader of the anesthesiology group and is seen as a strong patient advocate. He serves our Lake Houston area community well and gives back to patients in need time and time again. Thank you, Dr. Gallagher, for your inspiration and contributions to the profession in our community. And the 2014 Lake Houston Area Chamber of Commerce Healthcare Professional of the Year is Dr. Susan Curley. Susan, like Peggy and our other finalists, we will ask to come forward and receive all their gifts along with a photo op. So thank you, Susan. Okay, I have a few other duties to do and people to recognize, but afterwards we would like our 6 finalists and among them the 2 awardees to please come forward and get the photo op. Representative Dan Huberty has several awards to present. One that goes back to January when I had to cut off somebody's tie.
What I wanted to do is, because we save these for the healthcare luncheon, and so what I'd like to do is have Tom Broad come up here real quick. Tom, it would be you, yes. As many of y'all know, Tom is one of the lifebloods of this chamber and has been here for many, many years. And so, because I think those of us that have been here know how great a job Tom does. But Tom was presented with the 2013 Spirit of the Chamber Award by Lake Houston Chamber of Commerce at the award luncheon back in January. And what we did is we had a resolution done for him in the Texas House of Representatives. And so when we get back to Austin in January, this will be read in the House floor in your honor. So I wanted to present this to you. I'll read it.